friends, My Kitchen, My Rules is having a definite summertime moment here. And when summertime hits in the South especially, we're covered up in produce. And frankly, it's one of the reasons I have chickens. They act like a garbage disposal. But what do you do when you have things like blackberries, which if you eat an entire gallon, you'll pay the price later, even though they're really good. And then your family eats some, but then suddenly a few of them start growing Santa Claus beards and they look a little bit mushy and you don't really want to waste them, and maybe you don't have chickens. I'm going to give you a very interesting, low-key, low-cost, very southern little mush dessert. It's also really good if you have old people in your life whose teeth are bad. So we're going to start with blackberries, and I've got a quart of blackberries. However many you use is however many you use. So I've got my regular saucepan on the stove. We're going to go to a medium heat here, and I'm going to toss in a quart of blackberries. And if you have blueberries, that works. And if you have strawberries, that works. And if you have potassium, so sweet. I get all my stuff at the farmer's market. I don't have blackberry canes in my yard, but if you ever see me driving down 485 or 85 and see my car pulled off, don't call the police, because I'm not broke down. I'm picking wild blackberries off the side of the road. All right, so as we're gonna cook these down. Now, while they're cooking down, you should probably go to your cupboard and get some of the good stuff. We're gonna get some Dixie Crystal sugar, and somebody in a comment has said that they had Imperial sugar. Now, that's the distributor, so I guess maybe some Imperial is in the ballpark. But if it don't say Dixie Crystals on the bag, I'm probably gonna be totally judgy. So I got my Dixie Crystals ready to go. And then we're gonna put a little bit of sugar in with the blackberries. And there's a reason for that I'll show you in just a wee minute here. I'm gonna use about a half a cup to go with a quart of blackberries. Now, you could cut the sugar if you want to. You can add more if you have a sweet tooth. But if you're gonna add more, use something that's all natural like Dixie Crystals. I don't know why y'all use those things that come in colored packages. I actually had to tell my cousin that when he was at my house last week. He wanted some sweetener in a colored packet, and I said, no sir, we have Dixie Crystals, and that's what you get. And you know what, he was happy. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it in and on my blackberries here. And that was, let's see, that's my quarter of a cup. I'll use a little less than a half a cup for this quart of blackberries. Anyway, we're gonna cook down at a medium heat these blackberries. Now, you do want to stir this fairly frequently, because when you got on a medium heat, they can scorch at the bottom, especially the sugar can scorch, and that flavor is not really good unless you're doing creme brulee, in which case it's amazing. And I'll also give you a little spoiler alert tip right here. If you wanted to, you could stop this video and not find out the rest of this recipe. You will have a very fine blackberry compote after those berries have finished cooking down, because really all you need is the berries and the sugar, and put that on top of a piece of pound cake or on a biscuit. It'll act like a jam. It's so good. And if it's too sweet for you, put a little lemon in there, a little lemon zest, a little lemon juice, and shazam, you've got a very nice little jam or compote. But I'm gonna keep going, and now the liquid is starting to appear. Let me show you in the video that after just a couple of minutes, the liquid starts to appear. And we'll just let that keep cooking down. Okay, since this episode of My Kitchen, My Rules is essentially a choose your own adventure story, just like those books that I used to read back in the 80s, I want to show you that after just a few minutes on the stove, this has really gotten soupy and juicy. So, if you choose the path of jam or compote, just put it on a low heat and let it cook down. It will thicken up naturally. As it is right now, it is very, very juicy and soupy. And so if you want to stay with me for the rest of this recipe, let me show you what we're going to do next. So now that we've got a pretty chunky blackberry soup, and if you've noticed, I've been chopping up the blackberries as I go, just because I like them in smaller bites, and the ones that I bought were gigantic ones. The ones off the side of the road are not this big. Once I get it to a chunk level that I like, and again, this is up to you as to how much chunk you want in your dish here. I like it, you may not. The next thing you're gonna do is go over here to your biscuits that you made previously, that you have not used them all up. And in fact, if it's been a couple of days, they might have gotten hard and a little bit stale, and you have thought, I don't want to toss these out. They were good fresh out of the oven, but they're no longer fresh out of the oven. So what we're gonna do, and if you didn't make biscuits, by the way, there are recipes right over here. Go make some biscuits. It doesn't take you but about 15 minutes, y'all. It's so easy. But if you want to do something besides biscuits, this also works with saltine crackers. And in fact, I do remember my grandmother doing it with saltine crackers because my granddaddy liked the salt mixed into the sweet. So that would give you a sweet and salty concoction. But I have some leftover biscuits here. So I'm gonna take biscuits. So this could be biscuits for you. This could be saltine crackers. I imagine you could use any kind of cracker or bread. So just a bread type product. And then I'm just gonna, well, I'm gonna cut my heat down first because I'm still boiling over here. It's about to turn itself into a nice pectin jam. It looks so good. I'm tempted to start with Choose Your Adventure 1, but I had told y'all I'd keep going, so here we go. So I'm just gonna break up my biscuit into the mixture here and start absorbing the liquid. Now the reason you do it now and don't let it cook down is you need to have liquid to absorb the biscuits. So I'll take 2 biscuits. And what you're looking for here is just a consistency of mush. I don't really know that there's a technical term for what Grandma made for Papaw, except that it was a blackberry mush and it sat on the stove top and it was good hot and it was good room temperature. And I don't remember it ever getting cold because frankly, if it was sitting on the stove, he would walk through and just eat straight out of the pot. And me being the child that I was, I would eat anything that was sitting still for a second. And so I would come right behind him. Oh, that smells like creme brulee because that sugar burned when it popped out of there. Hey, what's up? I'll turn that down. That is still, that's boiling now. All right. And you see that the texture and the consistency are starting to move because the bread is absorbing the liquid. And if you're wondering why I did not start the blackberries with any butter, it's because my biscuits are pretty much half butter, and so there's plenty of butter in here. If you're lucky enough to live near a Bojangles, or as we affectionately call it sometimes, Bojangles, you can also get their butter biscuits work well. I do not vouch for any other brand of biscuits that are store-bought, but I do like the ones from the Bojangles because they have a great amount of butter in them. And so now what you'll see is in 3 ingredients, we have created a very low-key country dessert or side dish that uses up what are possibly stale breads and biscuits in your house and are possibly sad, tired fruits that you almost thought you were going to throw out to the chickens, but you said, you know what, I want to use what I have and be less wasteful. And so it's now turned into a mush. I really do not have the words for it. So let me put it in a dish so y'all can see what it's like finished up. And you'll also notice, by the way, that the blackberries start off black and then they turn into this beautiful red as they cook. So if you are not a super connoisseur of all the fresh fruits, see the difference in cooked and uncooked blackberries? It's kind of cool and interesting, I think. So, hey, you've learned something new today. So this is what the final result looks like. It is approximately 150,000 degrees, but some lady leaves me comments on the internet and tells me I ought to be trying more things live in front of y'all. Yeah, you won't try. You hear my cat down there? She said, I'll do it. We had a bite of biscuit that did not get fully cut up in there. It's not exactly like my grandma made because I don't know that I can recreate it. She made it with love. I make it with love. But it's in the ballpark. And when I taste it, I remember standing in her kitchen, which was yellow, and she had that old party line phone on the wall that if she was listening to Grace Jean, we had to be quiet real quick so nobody would know. Enjoy it. What a great way to enjoy summer, fresh fruit, and leftover biscuits. Make sure you hit the bell to subscribe, and if there's something you want me to make or you have a question or a commentary, drop it here in the comments. I'd love to hear from you.